Ciao, and welcome to the Immersion Travel Italy Podcast. I'm your host, Caterina Ferrara, and today's episode is deeply personal. December 8th is not only a national holiday in Italy, it's a major Catholic feast day, the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, and it's also my birthday. And this year, I was blessed to celebrate it in Rome during one of the most meaningful and visually stunning holidays in the Italian calendar. It was a day that combined faith, art, history, music, food, and an unexpected moment that felt orchestrated by Mary herself. Whether you're Catholic or simply love Italy, this is a story of how one day in Rome can change your heart forever. Let me take you through this incredible experience. We knew that in the morning, in Piazza Mignonelli, the quieter sister to the more famous Piazza di Spagna, there would be a wreath-laying ceremony honoring the Virgin Mary. And I had done a lot of research. I knew it was going to be around 7:30 a.m. We woke up at our Airbnb and we were ready early. So we walked over just to see what was happening. And thankfully, we arrived early. At 7:05 a.m., Rome's brave firefighters hosted the beautiful wreath of white flowers up to the ancient column of the Immaculate Conception. If you've never seen it, this moment is breathtaking. The sky was a painter's dream. Lavender and rose just beginning to turn gold with the sunrise. You can actually see this on my Instagram at Caterina Ferrara Author. As I stood there watching the ceremony, I couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. December 8th is my birthday. My grandfather was a firefighter, and to be in Rome, standing just a few steps from the Spanish Steps on this national holiday, surrounded by Romans, pilgrims for the Jubilee and visitors, it was absolutely unforgettable. After they took the wreath up to Mary, a lot of women had brought roses and other flowers for Mary, and many firefighters took turns. They would hook the flowers to their belt, climb all the way up the ladder to the top, and hook them there to the column. All the news media outlets in Rome were there. After about 45 minutes, we could hear the military marching band playing with such pride and precision. And then we slipped off for a 9 a.m. breakfast reservation. Usually in Rome, we do the classic stand at the bar with a cappuccino and a maritozzo. The maritozzo is that Roman special breakfast. It's a sweet bun with panna, which is whipped cream. But today, knowing that we were going to be up early, I chose to sit down, warm up a little bit. It was a little bit chilly in the morning, and savor a slow breakfast. I had then booked tickets for the Capitoline museums. It was about a 20-minute walk in the sunshine. And first we went up the Capitoline Hill to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier to watch the changing of the guard. Then we climbed back down those steps and came around the side and went up to see Santa Maria in Aria Coeli. This is the basilica known for its cosmatesque floors. These are intricate mosaics of colored stone that look like geometric patterns etched in the marble. From inside the basilica, there's a hidden corridor that leads you directly to the Piazza del Campidoglio. This is the square designed by Michelangelo, and it has the museums of the Capitoline Hill. The secret passage is key because if you leave Santa Maria, you have to go down the steps and then come around and come up the other steps. So save the steps and do the secret passage. And it's nice to come into the Campidoglio from the back. So we had tickets for the museums. We saw the Colossus of Constantine. This is a 40-foot statue from the 4th century, and now only parts remain: his head, hand, knee, and elbow. These enormous marble fragments remind me of how colossal the Roman Empire once was. And the reason we have this Colossus still with us is because Constantine, you'll remember, is the emperor that legalized Christianity. So where a lot of other emperors' statues and Colossus statues are gone, they kept Constantine. Inside the Capitoline museums, we focused on the Pinacoteca, which is the art gallery, the painting gallery. There are other very important things that we were sure to see, including the she-wolf with Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome, the equestrian statue of Marcus Aurelius, which is a very important equestrian statue from time before Christ. And then I found in the Pinacoteca my favorite artist, Benvenuto Tizzi, better known as Il Garofalo, a painter from none other than Ferrara, a town in northern Italy. He was a contemporary of Michelangelo, and his works, for me, are tender and richly spiritual. And I actually have several of his paintings here, copies in my office. He's my favorite. Seeing the originals was like visiting old friends because I've got them here. So what we decided was after the Campidoglio, we had a lunch reservation, but we decided it would be smarter to return to our Airbnb where we could warm up, and eat a quiet meal because we were headed out the 9th into the province of Frosinone, and the streets were very full, I will say. December 8th is a national holiday in all of Italy, and it fell on a Monday this year. And what that meant was, for all Italians, they had a long weekend, including the kids. So we mostly heard Italians from all over the country were enjoying the Jubilee festivities and being in Rome for these days. So it was nice to be there in December. Lots of Christmas shopping being done as well. We wanted to be back to Piazza di Spagna by 3 because we knew that Pope Leo would be arriving. On the previous day, we'd seen him during the Sunday Angelus in Piazza San Pietro, freshly returned from his visit to the Middle East. That moment was powerful, but crowded, and we could see him up in the window on the balcony, but frankly, we needed binoculars because it was a lot further away than we thought. It was nice, though, because a lot of the pilgrims in the piazza could see him that way. So at 3 o'clock, we settled into the Spanish Steps with many other Romans, many other Italians, and we were just sitting on the steps for that hour. We knew he was going to arrive around 4 p.m., and he would come up Via del Corso. And so the road was somewhat closed because there were people on both sides, but kind of like a parade route. And so what happened was the Spanish Steps didn't get very full because people couldn't get in anymore. I think the roads got so crowded that people couldn't get into the Spanish Steps. So we had plenty of room to spread out. And then when it was time and we could see the Pope Mobile coming up the street, we stood up and we were just, one row, pretty much the front row away from the piazza. And this is the Piazza di Spagna where Bernini's dad's fountain is that looks like a boat. And then the Pope Mobile came up and we thought he might turn right and go straight toward the statue of Mary, but he came around the fountain, which put him maybe 11 feet away from us. We were so happy. And my husband looked at me and said, "Caterina," he looked right into my eyes. It was a moment we'll never forget. Pope Leo, had a beautiful message at the foot of the Marian column, and he said, "Mary is close. She is the mother who embraces us, the mother who takes us by the hand, the mother who protects us, and she shows us that there's always hope." So this was a beautiful aspect of the day as well. I will tell you that we had positioned ourselves on the Spanish Steps, which meant when the Pope Leo was speaking at the base of the column, we couldn't actually see him, but we could hear him. And it was quite a mad rush to get over there. And we just kind of stayed on the side of the street because that piazza is quite small and it was crowds of people pushing over there. So then after that, we knew that the main Christmas tree this year was going to be in Piazza del Popolo because Piazza Venezia, where the main Christmas tree of Rome usually sits, is under construction for the metro. So we had a reservation at the Terrazza Ranieri, which is near Piazza del Popolo. And when I did my research, I thought we could see Piazza del Popolo from the Terrazza, and you can. But the catch-22 is you can't see the Piazza del Popolo Christmas tree. We were a little bit early. We knew the Christmas tree lights, in theory, were going to come on at 6:30. We had a reservation at 6:30. And so we crossed Piazza del Popolo and went inside of Santa Maria del Popolo. This church was originally built to welcome pilgrims for another Jubilee, the pilgrims entering through the northern gate. Outside, the fountain in the piazza offered fresh water for these pilgrims to wash after their long journey. Side, you find Caravaggio's masterpieces. In the Chirazzi Chapel, you can see his conversion of St. Paul and the crucifixion of St. Peter, which, of course, St. Peter was crucified upside down. Both dramatic and unflinching, and they're lit in a special way. So Caravaggio, also Michelangelo Merisi, knew how to channel this darkness and light in a way no other painter could. It's interesting because when you go to see them, they're on the two sides of the chapel. So you kind of have to work your way over to one side so you can see and then work your way over to the other side. And a little tip, there is a machine and you have to put €1 in it to light up the chapel. So if you're there and it's dark, spend the euro and turn the lights on. It's really worth it. So then we knew the Christmas tree was going to be lit. There was a concert in Piazza del Popolo. We went to the Terrazza and we sipped our cocktails and had our apericena, which is kind of a aperitivo that's also dinner, and waiting for the Christmas tree lighting in Piazza del Popolo. And I knew that we weren't going to be able to see it, but as soon as the tree was lit, we would go down and see the lights on all of Rome, but also in that piazza. And I kept saying to my husband, everything I saw said that they were going to turn the Christmas tree lights on at 6:30. He's like, nope, Katerina, there's no one down there. Because I knew the million people were going to leave that piazza as soon as the lights were turned on and the concert was over. So we sat up, we enjoyed ourselves. We were under the heated lamps. Again, I said, is anybody down? Nope, there's nobody down there. And so we finished, we paid our bill, we went down the elevator. I assumed that the lights were on the Christmas tree in the piazza, and we sort of walked down there. It was just maybe a block up the street. And I could hear the mayor of Rome, and I know his voice. And I thought, they haven't lit the tree yet. And this is maybe, 7:05, 7:10 in the evening. And then I heard the countdown begin. 10, 9. And there we were in perfect position. We could hear the music and speeches from the restaurant, and then they turned those lights on closer to 7, 10, something like that. And so it was great because we could see the tree light up. They lit up all the streets. And for me, it was like Mary herself had orchestrated the whole thing because the whole day was perfect. We arrived early in the morning when the firefighters went up earlier than thought. We arrived late in the evening when the tree lit up later than thought. So it was really a beautiful day, and I highly recommend getting to Rome on December 8th. It's the first day the Christmas lights come on. It's the day that the presepe, which are the nativity scenes, are set up, and it's just a beautiful day of activities. We put the museum in the middle, but you can do whatever you want in the middle of the day. But if you're planning to be in Rome for the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, be sure to check out my Ultimate Festival Guide, Rome and Beyond, available on Amazon. I include how to organize your day and enjoy that beautiful day in Rome. For other behind-the-scenes information and reels about the day, follow me on Instagram at Caterina Ferrara Author. And thanks for joining me on my birthday journey. Until next time, keep traveling, keep celebrating, and may your path always be illuminated with joy and wonder.
If you enjoyed today's episode, there's even more to explore at caterinaferrara.com. Discover the towns, festivals, and secret spots featured on this show. Read Caterina's latest blogs, and sign up for Caterina's free Travel Italy newsletter, your monthly insider guide to Italy's most unforgettable experiences. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share so more travelers can experience the beauty of Italy's festivals and traditions. Follow on Instagram at Immersion Travel Italy to see the real-life towns and celebrations behind every episode and guidebook. And for those planning a trip, find Caterina's Ultimate Festival and Travel Guides, covering Venice and the Veneto, Rome and beyond, Milan, the Italian lakes and Lombardy, Puglia, and Sicily, with more guides coming in the future. A total of 22 regional guides and 2 special event editions are planned, capturing every corner of Italy through its culture, history, and celebrations. Immersion Travel Italy. Experience the heart of Italy, one celebration at a time.